It's rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Get It Right Texoma and the trio. We've got myself, Terry, here.
I'm Trey.
Yeah, and you're Trey. And we have Mike, our longtime friend in the sky. He will always look over us, and he's kind of got us started in this world, didn't he? A little bit. Anyway, at least for me. You were kind of maybe doing some stuff.
Well, I was going on the radio show, the Joe Tom White show in the morning that he produced and co-hosted. Okay. And that's kind of how I got started in the radio. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm Trey, and we go live every Saturday morning at 7:30 on Facebook and YouTube with local happenings, interesting topics, hopefully, and usually a guest. And speaking of guests, we're joined later today by Dr. Stacia Haynie, who is the president of Midwestern State University.
Yeah, she's really nice, and I mean, she's like all about this, and she's from here.
Absolutely, so, yeah. We'll get a little bit of background from her. That's right. She's a local girl.
Yep, that's it. And we do want you to chime in on our comments, or if you go to YouTube or Facebook, you can actually comment, and I can see that come up on here. So we'd love to hear you what you have to say, and any notes or any thoughts or whatever on what we're talking about, or possibly an idea that we haven't talked about. But anyway, we've got sponsors here. We got Eddie Hill's Fun Cycles and MacTech Solutions. We're here. We're local, and we certainly appreciate all of you supporting local businesses and hold people accountable that they do a good job. Hold us all accountable, because just because we're local, I'm not taking that for granted.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
So anyway, this is Get It Right Texoma. So you want to get started?
Yeah, we'll do our local restaurant focus as we always do. And this is a local staple, been around for a long time, right on the corner of East Scott and Kell, where Kell Freeway meet. The Brain and Iron Restaurant and Catering. And great barbecue. Like I said, they've been around for so many years. They not only have great brisket, their sausage, in my opinion, is the best. I love their sausage. They have great sausage. They have hot links. They've got ribs. They've got pulled pork. Yeah. They've got all kinds of great meats. The sides are unbelievable.
Yeah,
their
the
okra's always really good.
Okra,
oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Their potato salad. Their potato salad is super great. So they've been around a long time, right there, and on the, like I said, on the corner of Kell and East Scott.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll see a place that's right on the corner, and it has wood out back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
pretty good indication of that there's a smoker somewhere.
And you just make that corner coming off of Kell, and it's right there on the right side. And they actually have do they still have, I haven't been there in a little while, but do they still have the little quick in and out?
Oh, yeah, they have dine in and take out.
Yeah, so you just go in, pop in there real quick. They got the chips and everything. They say, hey, you want your sandwich or whatever meat you want, and
you have two doors. You have a door to the left, which is the dine-in door.
Yep.
You go in there, and then you go through the tray. Yep. And then you have a door to the right. You end up at the same place. It's just you're divided by a little wall there.
Yeah.
You end up at the same place because you still have the same person sitting there chopping your meat and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, and they do, if I understand it right, they take credit cards now, because they didn't take credit cards for a long time.
Right.
And you had the ATM right there. You just get the cash. But hey,
I do think you get a discount for cash still.
Okay. All right.
But yes, they do accept credit cards.
There you go.
But they're not only open for their business, they also do a lot of catering as well.
Right.
So if you have an event that you need catered, you could do it a couple of ways. You can either go in and order the stuff and pick it up and take it yourself, which I've done several times, or you can actually have them come out and do a full catering deal. They do it all both ways.
Okay, well, there you go.
But the food is great. The people are phenomenal. They've been around a long, long time, and it's a great local restaurant. And it's great barbecue, great people, great food.
Okay.
Like I said, the sides, don't sleep on the sides.
No.
They're great.
So they're open, so they're closed Monday and Tuesday?
I believe so.
Okay, so then Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday. So there you go. You got their phone number.
So it's closed Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Right. So, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Yeah. But the good thing about that, like I said, I'm sure surely they work with you on Monday if you need catering.
I'm not sure what their schedule is.
Check them out, call them,
yeah,
and they'll obviously be
able
to help you out.
I don't want to speak for them.
So, all right. So let's see.
Brain and Iron, go check them out.
Yeah, brainingironwf.com. So
there you go.
All right. What do we got going here?
The Bands to Britain has been postponed. This is an event we've talked about for a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay.
It's not canceled; it's postponed.
Right.
And it was going to be downtown at the farmers market.
Okay.
And this is this was the fundraiser. The two local high schools, not local, the two Wichita Falls local. There's a lot of local high schools.
Right.
The two Wichita Falls high schools, Memorial and Legacy, have a combined band that has been invited to go march in the New Year's parade in London. Which
Still doing that.
They're still going to do it,
and they're going to have a fundraiser.
They're still going to have a fundraiser. They're just not going to do it downtown this weekend.
Okay. All right.
So
it is
they'll get us some more details on that. I believe it's going to be at the stadium on the 7th, if I'm correct. We'll get details as close. November the 7th, which is the rival game between Memorial and Legacy.
Okay.
So I think they're going to do the fundraiser there.
Okay. Well, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
So, all right, we got the Clay
So
County.
don't go downtown looking for food and the band this weekend.
Yeah, so we got the Clay County 94th Annual Clay County Pioneer Reunion, the 18th, 19th, and 20th of September.
Correct.
And there's a parade and a rodeo. And so go check that out. Oh, yes, I have
There's a parade and a rodeo. There's a rodeo every night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The Clay County Pioneer Reunion, they do this thing right. It's not just a one-day event, and it's not just we're going to have one thing event. They have a massive parade that takes over downtown Henrietta, and then they have rodeos every night. They have live music. They have dances.
Right.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And if it is the biggest event in Clay County by far. If you talk to anybody who has lived in Clay County for just about any period of time, you say Pioneer Week, they know what you're talking about.
Yeah, except for me. I honestly, that's one sorry.
Yeah.
But hey, there's a lot of people like me that now that you know about it, hey, go check it out.
There
But
you.
yeah, if you want to know a lot more about it, you can go to CCPR 1932. I guess that's the year
That's the year they started it.
And .com. So CCPR1932.com.
Your screen right
But
there.
yeah, but you probably just search the Clay County Pioneer Reunion.
Right.
I bet that would probably be easier.
They have a lot of neat facilities. It's a big deal. It's a huge thing for Henrietta. It's a huge thing for Clay County.
Right. Yep.
And
look at all the things they got going on right there.
That's
so,
crazy.
Yeah,
every
just,
night, every day, there's stuff going on.
So there you go. So go check that out.
And the nice thing about it is a rodeo this time of year, the weather's generally pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh yeah. Then didn't they predict this was going to be a really hot summer?
It wasn't.
No,
it was
it's
mild.
been. Yeah, I've been thankful because man, it's been pretty brutal as we all know. So all right, well then.
So that's next weekend.
Okay.
And then also Taco Fest was going to be on Saturday.
Yes.
So we've had people that have talked. We've actually had guests on that talked about both of these. Of course, Mike Campbell, the Clay County judge, was on last week talking about the Pioneer Reunion.
Yep.
And then a couple of weeks ago, we had Roger Palma from Zavala, who came out and talked about Taco Fest, and this is their fundraiser that they have
right there,
downtown Wichita Falls, and it's a great event. I mean, not necessarily if you like tacos. I mean, because quite frankly, who doesn't?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things like I've made it akin to the pancake cook-off. The Kiwanis, it's an annual event.
Yep.
That so many people show up to, and you bump into people you've known for years, but you don't see them at any time. You see them down there downtown. It's a great event. The food is phenomenal, and go down and support this. And it all goes to a good cause because they give out scholarships. That's what Zavala does. They give out scholarships for continuing education.
Yep. All right, and then they have dances and
they have the dancers. They've got a lot going on down there. Mariachi band. So it's going to be a great celebration of Hispanic culture and Hispanic food.
Right.
And
so
it is right there, Taco Fest.
So go check it out. They've got a Facebook page right here, and go just like I said, just Taco Fest Wichita Falls. I'm sure you'll find it.
That's right.
So all right, what else is happening in the world?
Before we start on our news, which we've got several things going on, I do want to mention that yesterday was September 11th.
Oh yeah, yes.
And even with all of the other news and the things that we're going to talk about, I still. I don't know about you, Terry. It still stirs me when I see that. When September 11th comes around and I sit there and watch it, and I think I probably never understood this until September 11th happened, because I can remember, like, my grandparents, they knew where they were when Pearl Harbor happened. And then my parents knew where they were when JFK got assassinated.
Yep, I know where I was.
Yeah, I was not born yet, but I mean,
well, not JFK.
But, yeah, JFK. but you were, but September, and I kind of was like, I was like, I guess I understand it's a tragedy, but I don't understand how it affects you. I understand, because I sat there and watched that second plane go into the tower live when we're all speculating what the hell's going on.
Yeah,
and it boils something inside of me. It does every year. It stirs me, and it should. Yeah, we can't let that fire die. You got to have that fire in you, and you have to let that go. So we have to be vigilant to not let that shit happen before. And that's why we go after terrorism. Now, look, I know there were a lot of mistakes made after it, and maybe some say they went after the wrong people and the right people and this and that. I don't know all the politics behind it, and I don't claim to know.
Yeah.
But we did go make a statement to the world that this shit ain't going to be put up with.
Yeah.
It's not going to be tolerated. And I'm going to tell you, I don't like everything about George Bush, H.W. Bush, or George W. Bush, I'm sorry, but he was the right person at the right time.
Yeah.
He was a great commander-in-chief, just what the country needed. I still think it's great that so many people show up to Ground Zero. I think it's great that they still read all the names. I think that's the right thing to do, and I hope that that doesn't get lost to history.
Yeah.
I hope that continues, and at some point, all the people that were alive now, that were alive then, will be dead. But we still need to make sure that we always remember what can happen when you let your guard down.
Oh yeah,
and that's a perfect example. We let our guard down.
Oh yeah,
we got complacent.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing, though. We were actually conditioned in a different way with regard to how to deal with terrorists. And up to that point, it was just let them do it. They'll land the plane. They've been known to kill a few people. They killed a sailor on the tarmac back in the day. That's when I learned what the word tarmac meant. But they did that. But for the most part, there was, I guess, like, honor among thieves, or honor. There was a known behavior that all they wanted to do was take that plane to a certain place and make.
They wanted money, or they wanted to make a political statement.
Right, and so they did it. But this changed it all. When it used the airplane as a weapon. I mean, it literally, and of course we didn't know all that until later about how it all formed up. But still, it was definitely a whoa, like that ain't. And we already saw, even within. When it was all happening, we had the Pennsylvania airplane. I forget what the flight number 93. Was. 93. Then they're like, nah, this ain't happening.
Yeah, and we're going to try to take over.
Right,
yeah.
And so for all accounts are that they actually prevented a few people. I'm sure it was just a handful of people, but it didn't matter. Somebody on that plane took charge and said, this ain't happening.
And the terrorists nosedived the plane. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they in a field, as opposed to some people say that was another plane bound for the Pentagon. Some people say it was bound for the White House.
Right. Wherever it was, doesn't matter. It was in a field now.
It ended up in a field, and it killed everybody involved there.
Right.
But you're right. Those people, I think people use they throw the word hero around too often.
Yeah.
That was
That's
people
heroic.
going,
absolutely.
Screw this. I'm not taking this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take my life in my own hands, and I'm going to try to take all of your lives on my back, and I'm going to try to do something. That was heroic.
Right. Well, absolutely. And think about it. It was like, your backup was your back was up against the wall.
You were, but there's a lot of people who cower.
Right.
When their back's against the wall, the fight or flight.
No.
And there was enough people on that plane that said, "No, screw this. Mm-hmm. We're gonna take care of business."
Because now they had information. I think, didn't they have a little information that somehow they were able to see?
Well, yeah, they knew that the planes had been crashed.
Right. So
that's why they knew it.
Right,
I mean, otherwise they would have sat there like everybody else, because that's what.
Yeah.
Like you said, we were conditioned to do, because who was going? The thing is, you go to. I think what this also shed was a light on how radical people can be.
Oh yeah.
These people were willing to kill themselves.
Right.
Because the pilot is the first person on the scene of a plane crash. Mm-hmm. They're victim one.
Yep.
They're in the cockpit.
Yeah, that's I hadn't thought about that.
So,
yeah.
so anyhow, those people. So it shed light on what radicalism can be, and we just got to keep our guard up.
Yep.
But anyhow,
So
before we move on, I wanted to talk about September 11th. I don't want it to fall
right.
by the wayside.
Yep, absolutely. So, well, cool. Well, then.
We had several deaths this week. Some national,
yeah.
some local. This one, to me, from a local standpoint, was actually much more impactful than the other two we're going to talk about. And Reverend Angus Thompson died at 86 years old. He was a leader, a true leader of Wichita Falls.
Okay.
He was a city councilor. He was a city council rep for District 2 for many years. He was also the pastor and founder of New Jerusalem Baptist Church. And he served from April 87 to 1999 as city councilor and was mayor pro tem from June 1994 to May of 1999. He and his wife Shirley were married for 61 years. And Reverend Thompson was the epitome of a leader.
Here he is.
Yes, he was a great man. He changed the lives of so many people on an individual basis.
Okay.
One-on-one. He marched for civil rights back in that time. He was a staunch supporter for the black community in Wichita Falls. But he was also one of those people, he brought people in. He was an all-inclusive person. He was great to be around. He was somebody, I always thought about Reverend Thompson when I was with him. He was always one of those people who you automatically respected just by the way he carried himself and spoke and that sort of thing. You know, what a phenomenal person, what a phenomenal legacy that he's going to leave. And his services will be held, obviously, at New Jerusalem Baptist Church on Saturday, September 20th at 11 a.m. Okay. So, and New Jerusalem is on Borton Lane, I believe. It's down from Hershey. It's down the street from Hershey.
Okay.
But Reverend Thompson, great man, great person, and he's been sick. I knew he's been sick for a little while, and but did a lot to change the community in Wichita Falls. Okay. Did a lot to enhance and change the community of Wichita Falls.
Okay. Well, then, all right. So, well,
let's,
oh, yeah, I guess I got to do that.
There you go.
Okay.
You want to take this one?
Oh, wow. Charlie Kirk. This surprised me. I was, where was I when this happened? I saw it, gosh, this was what, Wednesday? All right.
Yes.
Wednesday, yeah. I don't know exactly. I'm trying to remember where I was at. But anyway, it was a shock. It was like, Charlie Kirk's dead? What?
Yeah.
Huh? And so it surprised me. It caught me off guard because I watch him. And maybe I don't know that I agree with every single little thing that he says, but I think in general.
I hope nobody agrees with every little thing anybody says.
But he's very well thought out. I've
Unless
watched
it's
him.
I'm telling you.
Right. Yeah. He's very respectful. If you don't know, he goes out and to college campuses is primarily what his gig is. His shtick. Yeah, he goes out, he talks to people, and he wants people to come up, and he even says he's provocative. That's what people are using. Say, oh, he's provoking this. No, he said, prove me wrong. I think it says, hey, he makes a statement, and he says, prove me wrong.
And he's willing to debate. He was always willing to debate people, but he did it respectfully.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. He's also done, I guess there's this one thing, and I think it's in the UK. They stand like it's a similar setup to the House of Commons.
Oh yeah, which is great.
Right,
if you ever get a chance to watch the House of Commons,
oh no, it's
Prime Minister question and answers.
Yeah, that's funny.
My right honorable gentleman, and then they trash him.
Yeah,
yeah.
So, but anyway, so he's always doing that, but I've never seen him. Sure, he'll push back hard. If you're just
he can be a little snarky here and there, of
absolutely,
course.
But that's okay.
But that's different. That's the guy did not deserve to have a bullet shot in his
absolutely,
neck. Over his political beliefs.
Absolutely,
I mean, come on.
I don't care if you were telling me that everybody free college and everything. Bernie Sanders says he doesn't deserve to be shot. Even the most vile person who we have probably seen, it as short of you actually hurting a child or an animal or my family or me or anyone else, then I don't.
You pick an animal over your family?
No.
You said
not,
a child or an animal.
No. Well, no. Or don't hurt animals. Don't hurt
humans. Other humans.
Well,
I'm humans over animals.
Well, but I meant
animals
pets. I meant abusing and.
I don't agree with pet abuse, but I'm saying I always pick people over pets. I always pick people over
absolutely.
animals.
I would never. Yeah, that there's a choice. It's going. Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
you got to go the person. Okay, I just want to make sure. I want to make sure you're not one of those people that's bent that way.
No. I'm not
I didn't think you were.
Oh no! In fact, I got a story for you, but that's another time. But anyway, so bottom line is, and I think I'm not saying anything that none of us agree with. I mean, hopefully everyone agrees that you don't get shot for any reason.
Well, especially for political beliefs.
For political beliefs,
or your belief system.
Right, but just using words to make a point, whatever it is.
Right.
Again, even if I 100% disagree or 1,000% disagree with you, short of it, causing a fire in a theater and all that, just like we talk about the typical thing about First Amendment, but. No, this is just absolutely the worst thing that anyone could do in terms of it's the worst thing. It's just anyway. It's up there with
what
any
happens
sort
is
of
you have some idiots out there, and some of them will take this too far.
Oh yeah.
And now I don't blame people who
it's a mental health issue. Probably.
Exactly. I don't blame people that say Charlie Kirk's a bad person. I hear about this that somebody incited this guy. No, this guy's crazy.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Well,
by the way, he's in custody.
They've got somebody in custody.
So,
hopefully it's
somebody's
the right
in custody.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The FBI was pretty exhaustive search. But I will say the more rhetoric that you put out there and the names that you call people, the more likely you're going to get for somebody who's a little bit thrown off.
But that
I totally agree. I'm not absolving anybody, and I'm not saying anybody's fault.
Right.
I'm just simply saying
you need to be aware.
It doesn't help.
Absolutely.
It doesn't help to call Donald Trump a Hitler and everybody who's around him Hitlers and all that. It doesn't help.
No.
So all I'm saying is if everybody will just try to dial it down a little bit, it's okay that other people have different opinions than you.
Yeah.
It's fine. Sit and have a conversation with them. Right. You don't have to agree. You can walk away, but you can shake hands. We always used to have this thing when I was on the school board. It was called disagree without being disagreeable.
Yep.
Because you will have some very heated debate. You're talking about people's money. You're talking about people's kids. You're talking about people's values. You're talking about so many things. Mm-hmm. And you have a group of people who came around from different parts of the city and different backgrounds and are very passionate about what they believe. Yeah. But in the end, it's not worth killing somebody over or beating the hell out of them or anything
come
like
back
that.
another day.
Yeah, exactly.
Or go,
And by the way, if somebody beats you, they beat you. In other words, if their idea beats your idea, or if you lose, you lose. Yeah. So move on. But it is sad, and this is the first time in quite some time that we've had and Charlie Kirk wasn't like the president got shot. So let's don't equate it to that, or Bobby Kennedy when he was running for president and all that.
Right.
But this was a first time that I can remember in a long time that a real assassination happened like that of a political person.
I need to look it up, but there's been a bit of criticism thrown around that we're giving Charlie Kirk all this news, but yet there was a few months ago there was a Democratic I forget if it was some sort of representative, I forget, I need to look it up. But anyway, it didn't rise to this level. Yeah. And so there's criticism that he's getting more credit than this other, and they were a Democrat, and supposedly some crazy right-winger, they say, did it.
I don't know. I'm not doubting it, I just don't know.
Right, no. But the point is that I think it's all relative. And, in the same day, we had a shooting in, was it Evergreen, Colorado? For kids in a school at the same time. And so, we've got to be careful. I mean, it's just the reality of it. He has notoriety. He has a lot of people know him.
That's exactly
him.
You're going to get. And you're going to get
the president is going to get more press on something happens to them than a local person.
Well, it's kind of like the Farrah Fawcett Majors deal. Farrah Fawcett Majors died. You knew that. She died several years ago, right? But you know who died the same day?
No.
Michael Jackson.
Oh.
So Farrah Fawcett Majors would have been a massive, massive news story.
Right.
Turned out it was the D block. It was back of the page because Michael Jackson was bigger.
Michael Jackson.
So it's just kind of
she was big back. I had a poster.
Yeah, she was big at a time, but by the time she died, she was all that had gone. So.
No, I get it, but
anyhow,
it's just it's not okay. It's not fair, but it's what it is, and but. In terms of the love for, Charlie Kirk or any other celebrity, it's not the same kind of love that your local family you should show, of course, locally.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And the people you deal with on a day-to-day basis. But, I mean, I didn't understand the whole thing when Princess Di. I mean, she died on my birthday, and I think, was it 96 or 95? I can't remember. Yeah, I was in Las Vegas. I remember it because it was on my birthday.
Didn't affect me. I mean,
no, but in UK it was.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I'm married to a UKite.
Yeah.
No, I get it. It was a big thing to them, but it wasn't. I mean, it was a famous person who got killed. That sucks. But,
right. Well, yeah, no, but it was it went on and on and on. And the queen, when she gets, that goes on and when she died, it goes on and on and on. I mean, that's from our perspective, but we don't know the history. We didn't live it necessarily. So, in any case, so all of this to say, gosh, just
tone the rhetoric down a little bit.
You can come on back.
Yeah. So let's do one more thing real quick here.
Okay.
The other kind of we're kind of going through tragic stuff right here, unfortunately. There was a young lady that was killed on a bus in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yep, right.
And I think what's so shocking about this is because people saw it.
And
this happens all the time. Yeah. When I'm talking about the video, people saw that it happened.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
And how this young lady gets on a bus and some monster just kills her.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they had beef. It's not like they turned around and they were fighting. They were jaw-jacking or anything. It wouldn't have mattered even they could have, but it was a random thing. And what that tells you, and that's what's so scary, people like that are the scariest individuals on the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Because they will kill somebody for no reason. And unfortunately, this guy had a rap sheet, had been arrested 14 times. And I'm hoping something like this will bring about some change because apparently his mother tried to have him, said that he suffered from schizophrenia and tried to have him involuntarily committed to try to get him some help, and it never happened.
Yeah.
So this is so tragic that it happened. It's a horrible thing. I guess my whole point is I'm hoping that something good comes of it, that it shocks people. Sometimes we have to be shocked, unfortunately. Right. And I hope it shocks enough people that people in not only Charlotte, in North Carolina, but all over the country will say, hey, let's try to get some of these people who have mental health issues, some major help, because stuff like this can happen, and that could be you. I mean, you could be randomly riding a bus or randomly walking down the street or something like that, and somebody who has a problem.
And the truth is, though, we're pretty. We're advocates for if you go get training and carry a weapon if you wish, if it's, and if you did. But even in this case, that wouldn't have helped.
No, nobody.
Because there's nothing. No. I mean, it's just it's right there, boom, so quick that there was nothing to do about it.
The other thing that is sad, though, nobody seemed to help her. Look,
no.
I know. I mean, nobody was going to stop the guy. The guy stood up and shanked her. Okay, nobody was going to stop that. And if somebody had chased after him, so what? I mean, first off, he had a knife.
Get her help.
Secondly, she's sitting there holding her neck and bleeding, and a lady looks at her and then turns away. It's like, how do you do that?
And I guess to some extent it wouldn't be as surprising if it was in New York City in a way, but just the bigger town. But Charlotte, right?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah, for some reason that just doesn't strike me.
It's still
as
a big
place.
City. It is,
but it's not a New York.
But
City,
we just need to not be quite so desensitized as human beings.
I know.
To at least, I'm going to try to do something to help this person. Yeah, that guy's gone. I can't do anything about that guy.
Pick up your phone and do 911 at least. I mean, that's the least that you could do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to good things.
Yeah, we're going to move on now. So our guest Stacia Haynie is in. Come on in, Stacia. We're live.
Yeah, we are live.
We do a live transition here.
This is fantastic. I'm not sufficiently caffeinated, so I'm
well, that's okay.
Good morning. How are you?
I am fantastic.
Here, let's
see how. Yeah, we want to. All right.
Is that okay?
Yeah, there we go. That works.
Just wanted to cheat the microphone over.
Yeah, because we don't want to end up just all in front of your face. So
Yeah.
we want you
Absolutely.
to. Yeah. So,
It's good to see you.
It is so good to see you. Thank you so much for having me back.
Yeah, absolutely. You've been with us. You were with us several months ago. So real quick, to get anybody who didn't catch it before, don't need a long thing, but just gives a little bit about your background and you're tied to the local area.
Absolutely. So born and raised in Henrietta.
Clay County girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mike, by the way, Judge Mike Campbell was on with us last week, and he made a comment when I said, Dr. Stacia Haynie is going to be on next week. He was like, Clay County girl. I said, yep.
Exactly right. And then was fortunate enough to get my undergrad degree at MSU, my master's in poli-sci, and had, after I finished my PhD in political science at UNT, was off to LSU for 33 years, and just so grateful to the career that I had there and to LSU, and then had a chance to come back home to my alma mater. I couldn't turn that down.
Yeah, our colors are better too, by the way.
Yeah, just saying. Do love me some maroon.
I've got to be careful because Miranda, she's a LSU, she's a Cajun.
I can still cheer for the Tigers.
Yeah. It's not like you ever have to cheer against MSU. They're not going to be playing against each other.
It's
So.
one of the good things.
Right. So there's so much going on at Midwestern State University.
There is.
So we have a student success initiative. Tell us a little bit about
do.
that.
So we have been so excited about the record-setting class that we brought in last year. Where's some wood? Are pretty
This is all
confident we're
Yes.
going to break that again. But what we also know is that we are struggling to make sure those students stay and complete. So we want to not only have students have access, but we want them to be successful. So this initiative, and it's not that students aren't capable, but over half of our students are the very first in their families to ever go to college.
Mm-hmm.
And you often don't know what you don't know. So you don't know all the resources we have, the infrastructure we have to help support you. And part of this grew out of wanting to help those students be able to persist and continue, whether that's a financial aid issue, whether that's you need some sort of mental health, whether it is I'm not sure exactly what I want to do with life, whether it's we need to get you some better tutoring or support outside of your classroom to help you be successful, because we know our students are bright and are capable. But when we were also having the conversations with the military about how we build that better partnership, one of the things that they mentioned is that airmen don't have time to go to 5 different offices to get an issue resolved. Well, no student has time to
That's
go
right.
to 5 different offices.
I
So
can
it's-
remember going and registering for Midwestern State University before the computer system.
Oh.
When you go in there with your cards in the student center.
Oh, indeed.
Yep,
Remember
yep,
it.
yep.
Yes,
So-
distinctly. And you're watching those cards decline as you
Exactly.
To get up
And,
there.
and the worst thing is you get up there and you say, I want to take this class. It's full. Now you have to go back to your advisor
Correct.
to get it changed.
Correct.
It's so, yes, you're right. It could be the runaround, and it's great that you're doing something
And
about
it can be that just level of frustration to say maybe I don't want to do this
Exactly.
after all. And so this is intended to be this center, which will be the second floor of Bridwell Activities Center, will be both our military education center and our student success center. So it's a one-stop shop. I'm not sure what I need to do. I got this email, or I'm concerned about this, or what should I do? But go here, and we are going to get you to the support that you need so that we can help you continue.
So customer service attitude.
Centric.
Absolutely.
In this. All right.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Very student forward.
Well, and I think that's important because let's face it, kids nowadays, when I say kids, younger people nowadays are not as independent as all of us were. I mean, the fact is, so many moms and dads have their kids so tethered to this phone, the kids don't.
We are too now. Don't just blame it on the.
Well, no, but not to my kids. I mean, I go home and I throw that thing, and my kids are grown. And in fact, my wife, it's funny. She's like, well, "What if one of the kids has an emergency? Tell them call 911." I mean, they don't live here. I mean, it's one of those deals. So no, it's when we left the house at 16 years old. Hey, mom, dad, when are you gonna be back? Midnight.
You might make sure you had a dime or a quarter in your pocket.
Exactly. So we had a lot more independent. We learned to be more independent.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I don't think the kids nowadays are brought up to be quite as independent as we were. So you're right. The level of frustration or the level of, facing adversity
Right.
as opposed to facing adversity and go, okay, I'm going to just put my head down and figure it out, as opposed to throw my hands up or jump on my phone and I can't figure it out. And I think this is a great step to help those kids, those younger people, overcome some of that adversity.
Absolutely. And, the other piece of it, some of those students who left with some credit but didn't complete that degree, we also want this to be a space to serve those students to return and finish. Right. We have pathways now, and because we've also, with this initiative, expanded the support structure we have for online courses and those degree paths, we know people have full-time jobs and you can't quit your day job, but you can still come back. We can still help you complete that degree. So it's also intended to make sure that we are providing that access and pathway for success.
And you don't have to do it in 4 years necessarily, because it took me 9. Now, I did take a few extra classes, but I was also active duty while I did all of this.
That's incredible.
It took me 9 years, but I completed it. I was even able, because the college I was at, I was up in Wichita, Kansas, and went to Newman University up there. It was Kansas Newman College back then. But I was able, they had the non-traditional students, they were catering to them. I mean, it just was, and between the Air Force and everything, it all worked out well.
By the way, you know what a non-traditional student in England is called? A mature student.
A mature student.
They always sound more posh over there than we do.
Right. So so a couple of things on that, though, with regard to, that, trying to take away the emphasis on that. You can still work. And you can still do other things. You don't have to work full-time. You don't have to go to school full-time. But at 12 hours is considered a full-time load for financial aid and those things. Now, on the financial aid part, is there to me, and I don't know what a typical student might come out of here with, out of MSU with debt-wise, but I've known people who did go here that, if I remember correctly, they said they had $60,000 in debt. That's a lot. That's more than a car.
But now, a lot of people, to be fair, I've known people that have done that.
Right.
A lot of people, they finance everything.
Right,
they finance
right,
their living. They finance their whatever else. So I hear those stories about people being in debt, and there's people who basically sat on their hind ends and didn't do anything but went to school, and they financed everything.
Right. So back that up, though, is that, I mean, it seems maybe this is totally out of line and not true, but it seems that it's super easy for a school or for anybody, whether it be in high school as you're advising to go into school, hey, you can get a loan. That's no big deal. I think that's a big deal, especially now. When they changed the I guess the rules or the law or what are behind the student loans, for the federal student loans, if you don't pay those, besides the interest, I don't think an 18-year-old has the capacity. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from a new adult, whatever. I don't think you process things the same way, and I think we need to go out of our way to make sure they understand and offer alternatives. So anyway, you know what I'm getting at.
100%. I think one of the things that we're proud of it at MSU is the quality of the degree for that price point.
Absolutely.
Our students, on average, so there may be some with more, but on average, are leaving with a little over $20,000 in debt. Right. Now, the last numbers I saw, over a lifetime, that degree will be worth $1.5 million.
Right.
Okay, so probably not a bad investment, right?
No.
Not even a car, right?
As long as the right degree.
Correct, but as somebody with a theater degree, I would, for my undergrad, I would just say I was given that foundation that helped me to be able to go forth and enjoy the life well lived. So I think for us, we want to make sure that our students are leaving with those skills that are marketable and that will have that ROI for them in the marketplace. But you're absolutely right. We want students and families to think about where they choose to invest their time, their talents, their resources in advancing that child's education. And we, of course, believe that the ROI for an MSU degree, I'm the poster child for that, is important. But we certainly, there are, and especially if a student's considering subsequent graduate school that's going to be added to that, whether it might be graduate school or law school or med school, then you're also potentially adding to that debt. So we want to absolutely work with that student to be thoughtful about making sure that they are invested in a degree path that they will get that that
Of
ROI over
course,
their lifetime.
The other side of that is if you're going for an advanced degree, chances are you're going to be at a higher earning potential. I mean,
Without doubt.
generally you're not going to get a master's or a PhD and then go flip burgers.
And again, research shows that's the case.
Yeah.
Well, there is with the internet, with all these other options now. A degree in many fields is not required, right? In IT, for instance, you can become a nice, well-paid, and it's a more technical. Although I ended up with my master's degree, but I'm in IT, and so it's something that's a competition to MSU.
I think
in some ways.
I think that there's some truth to that. I will say I have yet to meet the person to say I really regret having this college degree. I've not met that person.
Okay.
I've met many who have said, I wish I'd gotten that degree, or
Sure.
I wish I'd gone ahead and completed that degree.
Well, there's a couple of things. It's like saying all my kids went to college, and I went to college. And it's like I told my kids, you don't have to be a genius to go to college and get a degree.
No.
But you do have to learn sacrifice. You'll have to learn some time management, and you have an accomplishment thing there. So there's something to it. And I agree with you. Not everybody's bent that way. It's not for everybody.
Agreed.
If it was, you couldn't house everybody. If everybody in the world had to go get a college degree, you couldn't house everybody. Right. So it's for the people that want to do that. But there is some level of learning satisfaction, learning completion, learning how to organize your time, learning those sort of things that college does enforce on you, because
it's the process.
I don't care how smart you are. I didn't study my freshman year ever. I never studied in my life until I was a sophomore in college. And then all of a sudden I had to learn how to study, and I had to learn it in a hurry. And so it forces those things on you. So there's very good in a college degree. I agree that there's some jobs and some things you don't necessarily need to go get a degree, but there's some things that you do, and there's some benefits that you will get if you have a degree. It's
a formalized series. It's an instructional format. It's a process. It's all of that. So
we want to make sure that for those students and their families who want a college education, that there's a path forward for them and for them to be
and a reasonable
successful.
cost.
Absolutely. So we're focused on ensuring we have scholarship dollars, that we're able to close the gap for that. And so we're working hard every day to bring those scholarship dollars. My husband and I created a scholarship in honor of my mom and dad at MSU, actually before I took this job. The Doyle and Leota Edwards Family Scholarship. My dad was a teacher there, and Henrietta taught me biology and chemistry. And we want to produce those teachers who will go back like my dad and are there to ensure that those students are prepared for whatever the next step will be. Right. And so encouraging those who have benefited from their degree to help ensure others can as well.
We actually had some things on the scholarships. Local donors have raised more than $950,000 towards scholarships.
And let me just say that
for active duty military.
That's right. So one of the things when I was here, I think we talked a little bit about this in the spring, but when I was getting my master's degree, we actually were having courses on base at the time, and of course that's changed for a variety of reasons. But I had pilots from all over the globe in that class in political science, and we'd be talking about international issues. It was just a fabulous experience. And when I came back, we had very few students from the base. When I was asking about that, well, the tuition remission from the federal government has remained here, their tuition assistance, and here's our price point. Well, this is our price point, but they're rational consumers, and this will not have out-of-pocket expense. We will. So one of the things we knew we had to do was to close that gap. And, we've worked with supporters in our community and just our incredible donors, and have been able to raise the scholarship dollars to close that gap. But one of the other things that was fantastic, again, in talking with leadership at the base about how we build this, the active duty were very insistent, rightly so, that we are not the only one serving. It's the whole of our family who's serving. And these scholarships cannot just be for us. So these scholarships are actually for our active duty and their dependents. And what we're seeing is about a third are for active duty of our scholarships, a third for spouses, and a third for dependents. So and again, we want to make sure that Shepherd Air Force Base is so connected to this community, and feels the love. We won the Altus Trophy, our community did this year, for the community that best supports its base, so that both the base and MSU, two strong economic drivers for our community, continue to thrive.
Yeah. Well, so something just a lot of people may not know out in the civilian world is that from it's encouraged, of course, that the enlisted get at least their community college of the Air Force. Now, that's a stepping stone, because if you get that and you get some credit for your experience and your job training and everything that you've gone through, applied towards that, and then that degree, many of those credits will apply to a bachelor's degree, and then but an enlisted, it's basically get your bachelor's degree would be sort of the stretch goal. Many of us got our master's also, and then for the officers, though, they come in pretty much, they've already got a bachelor's degree. Yeah. That's just sort of with few exceptions, that is the normal. So they, in order to get promoted to major, though, they have to have a master's. And so that's where and that's every base has to, in fact, that's one of the checklist items as they work with the universities in the local area, or I guess remotely. And that's, you guys are competing against those folks too. Right. So anyway, they have to have that for the most part. And then the families, of course, because if you've got a spouse, though, or family member, and they're moving around, that's the other part that's challenging, is that you have to Servicemen's Opportunity College, I think there's some sort of program that allowed each university to accept credits that they wouldn't otherwise potentially accept. So anyway.
Well, and that's part of what with the Military Education Center, to have an advisor there with the expertise, both to help with the financial aid for that service member and their family, but also because, we took a handful of our active duty, and some had 4 and 5 transcripts. And you don't want them to lose any single one of those credits.
Right. Yeah, they work for them, and they paid for them.
Absolutely. So how can we, to your point, make sure that those credits can be applicable to their degree? Because of course we'll take the credits, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be degree applicable.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. There's a catalog. There's the old, I don't know what they call it anymore, but it used to be called the catalog.
It is a catalog.
Yeah.
It remains the same.
So another big thing going on that kind of maybe a little bit MSU might have something to do with. Is some little possibility of a stadium thing here?
Yeah. So tell us how that's going to be financed. I'm just curious on that part.
Well, I think
let's talk about it first.
Well, all right, fine.
So I think that
MacTech, sponsored by MacTech Solutions, the MacTech Solutions Stadium.
Oh yeah, well, we'll see on that.
So obviously Memorial Stadium has done a fabulous job over the many years that we've had there, but it's a ways from us, and it's also trying to recruit talented players, maybe not the best job.
And also let's take a real quick step back. Wichita Falls, one of the biggest things about Wichita Falls is it never has been really a college town. It is, but it's kind of not. And I think this is part of it, because
absolutely, my
kids all went to Texas A&M. That is a college town. You go to every other car's got a bumper sticker on it. You go to the grocery store, and you got 85-year-old men walking around with Texas A&M hats and stuff like that. So the whole town is revolved around that, but part of it is that stadium's right there.
Absolutely.
And there's so many of these major colleges, their stadiums are right there where students you see a mass of people walking over to it. So that's one of the big things that we don't have that potential.
Yeah. And you're right. The access to our campus, right? So while it's not contiguous, it's really close. Our students could walk. It's literally a block within our residence halls. So certainly excited about that and the energy that it would bring to our campus. We have 5,000 to 6,000 individuals who are coming to our games now. We imagine we can be much more than that if it was close and a really great facility, a fabulous atmosphere. And that is an experience you take with you. And we want that for our students. And we, in terms of financing that, we would need to raise dollars. Again, I think this is a community that's really excited about what the stadium could mean. And not just the stadium, but the redevelopment of that space.
It ties in
100%. And certainly the retailers who would be coming in there, those businesses, having access to a larger, vibrant university, probably not going to be a bad thing when you're trying to bring those individuals in. So all of that is connected. And I will also say, I think it's a signal for a community that's growing, for a community that's no longer okay with being okay.
Right.
We can be a college town. We can bring excitement and energy there.
In my mind, this is just absolutely, this whole redevelopment is, I hate to say it this way, but it's a no-brainer, because you do nothing, and knowing that these investors that owned this, or I guess hasn't closed yet, but right, or it
It's
hasn't.
not yet.
Right,
And again, we're going to
but the current owners had no intent to develop this much beyond anything other. It was actually not a lost leader, but it was a
tax shelter.
It was a tax shelter.
Yeah.
And then that,
Which
I
I'm
think,
not disparaging them.
No,
that is what
no,
it is.
no.
I mean,
But-
if they got the
But
money,
that's
their
not.
money.
But
That's it.
that sitting there doing what they're going to do with it is not good for our community in any way, shape, or form. And for that to even get to the point where there's fewer and fewer and almost nothing in that facility anymore is just sad. And I'd hate for that, because that we've already seen it. It's just, fortunately, we haven't seen it locally yet. We're close. So I'm glad that's a good thing.
I don't think the financing is going to be a problem, because there have been people in the past who have started raising money to build a stadium in Midwestern. I think part of the problem was where they were going to build it.
Correct.
That's been one of the biggest things. I mean, people go, hey, let's take that president's mansion down. That's a big place. But honestly, other than that, those grounds, where else are you going to build a stadium that's adjacent to it? Now you have one that's, like you said, not on campus, but it might as well be.
Correct.
And
Agree.
by the way, there's no telling what else will pop up
Agree.
between there and there. There'll be an MSU souvenir shop. Somebody will sell Gold Creations or whatever. Maybe I'll go MSU souvenir shop or something like that. But
Well, and I think too, to have retail within it as well, so that there can be some space where you're going to be generating some revenue there, but also so that we can bring other events to our community.
Yeah.
So that we can have concerts, we can have all kinds of postseason competitions. Why not have them come here instead of bypassing us and going to other cities? And that brings individuals in, that brings revenue, that fills our hotels, it fills our restaurants and our businesses. So I agree. I think it's a no-brainer, because if we do nothing, we know what is ahead.
Yeah.
And it will not be good. So I don't think there's really a choice. It's just we want to make sure we get this right.
Yeah. Be proactive in it and get ahead of the curve.
And I think getting it right will be a no-brainer because of the people that are involved. I mean, you're involved, Ron Kitchens, Tim Short, the whole city council, the 4B, the 4A, the development board. There's so many people involved, and they're going to bring an expert.
Absolutely. And I do think that the vote of the economic development boards and the council unanimously saying, yes, we're gonna move forward with this. That was an amazing achievement for our community.
Well, and also for all the naysayers, and yes, there's risk, no doubt. There's always risk, but seems to be a bigger risk by doing nothing, first of all.
Agree.
But this risk, though, every part of our life has risk. And unfortunately, sometimes the risk is what we heard this week in the news, with Charlie Kirk. But this is a risk. Yes, it's financial. But it's more than that. It's community. It's building. It's giving confidence. And what happens is when you take that leap, it's very nerve-wracking, maybe a little bit, to take that leap. But when you started college, when you started into your master's and then your PhD and then a new job and then coming here, and I mean every bit of that. But you knew you had the confidence moving forward, and it's that confidence that makes it happen. Because there's no guarantee of it, but it just, if you don't, anyway.
There's no guarantee, but you're on the campus every day. You see the energy that's out there. Can you imagine a situation where a brand new stadium gets built right down the street from Midwestern State and nobody shows up?
No, and absolutely not. And I also would say that winners bet on winners. So when you have a win like a stadium, and then students are like, well, maybe I should think about this university. And then they come, and then, I'm having a fabulous time at MSU. So
and
others come.
Like you said, there's a lot of recruiting people when Well, here's a perfect example. My son was heavily recruited by SMU. I mean, we went to SMU. He was an engineering student. He, perfect SAT scores in math, and he was a bright kid. We went to SMU. We went and did several places, and they were, oh yeah, we want you to come here. We want you to come here. We want you to come here. And he chose Texas A&M not just for the engineering degree, but for the student life
experience. Of course,
SMU wasn't really winning at the time. Their football and. Texas A&M was just going to join the SEC and all that. But it was that whole experience, the student experience. And it's not just recruiting the athletes, it's also recruiting everybody else.
Absolutely. No, and our goal always is to focus on the quality of that academic program. And research is clear, that's the number one factor. But students do want a well-rounded experience. And while we provide that at MSU, I experienced it. And it's scale, right? So we are providing, A&M's just doing it for 40,000 students.
A lot more people, yes.
And not everybody wants to be on a campus
There's plenty of people
40,000
That's
students.
right. There's plenty of reasons why people don't go to Texas A&M. Don't get me wrong. I totally agree why people do go to MSU.
But we appreciate that that's part of it, right? I mean, and so we want to make sure that our students also have the ability to join those Greek organizations, which we have, to be able to experience. We have a record number of student athletes this year, and to have our students be there to cheer them on, for our students to have opportunities in student government. We just reopened Bolin Hall's renovation, a $50 million renovation. The building is stunning from when I was there.
I need to go by there. It's been a long time.
It's beautiful. But there's a large atrium there now, and week before last, the student organizations in our sciences, so our geology club, the chemistry club, the different honor societies of those groups, they all had tables out in the foyer. And there were hundreds of students connecting with students about, oh, you like rocks? I like rocks. When is the rock? What? So just amazing that and those connections are all there. I think in some ways it's probably easier for our students to find them. But that circles back to what we were talking about, the Student Success Center. Part of that is making sure those students do get engaged, that they do find a space on our campus, their place, where they can connect and know that they are valued and they belong with us. That's really important outside of the classroom. We know that they're going to get a great experience there, but it's got to be the whole of the experience they're going to have with us at MSU, Texas.
You're right. And so many people, this is their first time away from home, first time away from mommy and daddy. So it's a perfect time to learn a little bit of that responsibility. Get out there, but it's not like you're being thrown to the wolves. You still have people there. You have advisors. You have people there that can help you, but you are still getting some independence. So
right, and I tell students when we're recruiting, I'm like, the good news is the faculty are going to know you. You're going to be in a average class of maybe 25 students. The bad news is they're going to know you.
Yeah.
So if you're absent, they're going to be calling.
The only class I think I ever had that was a massive size class was human sexuality of all things, which I was psychology. So it's not. And by the way, it's not what you think it is. I mean, it is. It's actually a very hard class.
Absolutely.
And it's a whole lot to it. It's not just about sex. There's so much more to it. But it was one of the lecture hall classes. So there were 75 or 80 people in there. But that was very unusual. Most of the classes were 30 people.
Absolutely.
20, 30 people.
Yep.
Just something I thought about was that I've heard people talk about, oh, well, if I don't go to MIT or if I don't go to, Harvard or any of these other.
Western in town, baby.
Yeah, right. But what I try to tell people is that, unless you go to that is a path to get into certain types of jobs, but those are very selective, very high end. The vast majority of us, employers don't generally necessarily care as long as it's an accredited university. It's in, do you have the degree?
Yeah.
And did you, what was maybe even what your GPA is? But I've never, well, of course, I employed myself, went in the Air Force. So I've not had to justify any of that with my
the point
grade.
is, it's getting the degree, just showing that you went, you did the work,
Yep.
you went through it and all.
But I also think it's incumbent upon you as an individual to take the skill set you're going to gain in that degree, and it's what you do with that. When I arrived at LSU, and here I am, this, was sent to the cotton patch at 8, driving a tractor by 10, and I literally parked the tractor and went to register at MSU. And I have colleagues at LSU with these Ivy League degrees.
Right.
I got to tell you, I could hang.
Sure.
Yeah.
I could hang
Right.
because they might be way smarter than me. They're going to be hard pressed to outwork me.
Right.
And I think that's part of also what we want to nurture and make sure that you gain that confidence in yourself to know. I look at what our grads do. It blows my mind. They are amazing.
There's nothing about being farm work to be a
Oh.
farm. So I'm first generation off the farm, and that's what I told people. You may be smarter than me. You may be more talented than me. You may be whatever than me. You will not outwork me.
So you mentioned earlier, we talked about, I kind of not joked, but said it depends on the degree. And not every degree will get you what necessarily qualifies you in of itself
Right.
by going through it to get you a job. And sociology is one of those. But if you have life's experience, if you actually have a job doing other things, that goes to what you just pointed out, is it really depends on how you merge that in by having real work experience. And sometimes, yes, it may take you 6, 7, 8, in my case, 9 years, but it's how you take that degree. I ultimately got a dual major, but industrial management. That's one of those degrees that getting the degree itself doesn't mean anything. It's if you're in the technical field, it dovetails perfectly with that. But I did get my degree in elementary education also. I went through student teaching and the whole bit. And but in your case, you got in what was your bachelor's?
Theater.
Okay. So what did you do when you graduated?
So I graduated and taught for 2 years
Okay.
at Hershey High School.
So you went through the certification
I
process to
did.
be a
I
teacher.
taught
Okay.
speech,
Perfect.
theater, and sophomore English.
What years would you have been at Hershey teaching?
That would have been 81, 2, 2, 3
Okay.
in there.
I was a Hershey grad.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, but I was a little later than that, but not much.
Well,
Vicky Kruger was I was a theater guy. I was in theater. She was our theater teacher.
and again, the students were wonderful. I just thought, I can't see doing this. So I quit and took a job as the secretary in the biology department at MSU. And worked there and was able to get my master's in political science and thought, I really think I want to be a faculty member at a university. So I went to get the PhD at University of North Texas and always with the goal of being a faculty member at MSU. And I tell everybody it took me 33 years and another title, but I finally
But you got there. You got there.
Finally
Well, that's
got
cool.
back.
Yeah.
Well,
Good deal. Well, as we kind of need to
Yeah,
wrap up
we're gonna
here,
wrap it up.
is
Yep.
there anything else that you want to talk about or want to bring up and want to highlight about Midwestern State? You said you think we're going to break a record again on attendance again this year?
We do think that incoming first-time full-time, and we have to be careful not to call them freshmen. So many of our first-time full-time direct from high school are coming in with 35, 40 hours
wow.
of dual
so
enrollment.
many so many people
So
do
enough
come
to
in
bump
with,
them up
with
with
AP
this.
and
Okay.
IB and stuff. Yeah, I had two of my kids went into college as sophomores.
Exactly.
They were sophomores. They weren't freshmen
So they
at
had
all.
what's to qualify? What are the number of hours to qualify before you're considered a sophomore?
30 hours
30.
is
30.
the
Okay, so it's
freshman.
15,
if you're
yeah,
above
okay,
that,
yep.
so if you call them a freshman,
Yeah.
they're not. So we have to be careful to refer to those
Right.
students as first-time full-time.
Right.
'Cause they're the first time they're going to college and they're full-time students. They
Right.
may be sophomores. Some come
Right.
in as even juniors.
Yeah.
Wow.
With
yeah.
dual
Right.
accreditation and all kinds
And
of stuff.
AP and other options for them. But yes, we are anticipating having another record class, and we want to make sure, that those students have a great experience and graduate, but we also want to keep that talent here. Part of the way we're going to grow Wichita Falls is to provide that great experience, redeveloping, so there's retail and all sorts of
Right. It's
there.
both tracks though. You have to do both. You have to
100%.
develop the jobs, which we've not done as good here, but we've developed you guys have developed a lot of great students or a lot of graduates that are
Absolutely.
qualified to do all kinds of things. but we don't have the jobs to fill them, and they have to leave.
We're working on that, though.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
And you mentioned Ron Kitchens. He's just a powerhouse. We're really so fortunate.
Well, I think along with him
and the mayor
and the city council, the new council, the mayor. When I say the mayor and the city council together,
agree.
It's in the county government. There's
Agree.
been a lot of changes around here. We were
100%.
talking about that. In fact, I think Ron, when he was in here, was talking about all the different people that are relatively new here. Your name came up.
Right.
Of all the people that are leaders in the community that are relatively new, and everybody's kind of going towards the same goal.
And I think that's the key. You do have experienced leaders in the community too. You're always grateful, obviously, but then all of those new leaders and everybody's sort of rowing in the same direction because that's the key.
And now because the city council and the city manager, yes, they're somewhat the same, but I think with the new blood that we have in the city manager also is going to change. Right. So it's just I think
terrific.
that I'm not from here. I grew up in Fort Worth, but the Air Force brought me here and I stayed. So I'm just pleased to see.
You did.
So yes, I appreciate
Most of the time.
Yeah. So, all
Dr.
right.
Stacia Haynie, thank you so much. We appreciate you being in with us.
Thank you so much for having me on.
All
So
right.
Midwestern State University, I guess you still call it Midwestern State, or do you call it MSU Texas now, or what's it actually called?
We call it MSU Texas, Midwestern State University. I call it home.
There you go. All right. That's a good one.
Well, I guess we'll just wrap it on up. We've got
That's
some
right.
other things we'll carry on the next one.
Join us next Friday morning at 7:30, and next week's guest will be Dwayne Jackson of Wichita Theater.
Wichita Theater, man.
Yep.
They've got a lot of talking about cool
Yes.
things happening in the city, man.
Yeah,
You got to go check them out. All right. Well, as our our friend and radio partner, Mike.
Who was on the mic.
That's it.
Mike on the mic.
There you go. He's right there. He's always looking over our shoulder, keeping an eye on us. But anyway, he has always ended the show with that we're going to see you, or we will see you down the road.
You make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.